Here's today's rant. This one will be short and sweet. I have a question for you this morning. Could the big, beautiful bill have contributed to the deaths and innocent lives of people in the Texas floods right now, including the 26 or 27 children? At this point, I have not been caught up on all of the news, but it is a question that's being asked. And of course, in all things political, people are going to jump to conclusions. If you're anti-conclusions right away and make that direct correlation. And I'm not going to lie, that's the first thing that came to my mind. Why wouldn't it? When you cut back on essential services, meteorologists, 44%, I think, is the number of the reduced workforce in the area where the flooding occurred. What does that do? Early warning systems. We know that there were late notices going out. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, the state of Texas right now is in mourning because many lives were lost in a terrible storm that had just surfaced. And we won't even be talking about all the other issues about climate change and that sort of thing, but it is a question that we need to ask. Could these lives have been saved? Could they have been saved had there been adequate staffing in the weather service? Something that Trump and Doge made quick cuts right at the beginning of his second term. And many people feel, and I have my suspicions myself, that perhaps some of these lives would have been spared. These are real people. And let's not forget that the experts in the field, including all the former heads of the department of the National Weather Service, warned us, warned the president, warned Congress that these cuts could potentially put American lives in danger. And now we're seeing that this perhaps could be the case. Now, I'm not here to politicize. I'm here to just ask the question, as I think everybody should. But here's the problem with the question. And this goes back to a conversation we had last Friday about Laura Loomer and her incendiary rhetoric about feeding people to crocodiles using the words 65 million, which we know correlate directly to a specific population in the United States. And I talked about what my thoughts were on how to combat this sort of rhetoric, beat them to the punch, don't let them get that gaslighting initiative going. And so in this case, my mind is there again. And it would be, what do we anticipate their messaging is going to be? Now, I haven't even checked the news this morning, so I am certain they have already gotten a spin. So let's think about it. Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think the spin is going to be, or maybe you've seen it already. And what would be the good counter to that? Because, and I'm not talking about counter politically, although there are ramifications that we need to consider for all that. But I'm talking about the question itself. Could lives have been spared had these cuts not been so prematurely made? And, the whole idea behind this is to throw things into chaos so that you could push your agenda through. Most recently, the big, beautiful bill, and which is going to add, I believe, at least $3 trillion to the deficit over 10 years. And this is one thing that I want to ask true conservatives. True conservatives are fiscally conservative until they're not, until they're MAGA. And that's why I don't believe that MAGA is a conservative movement in the sense of traditional fiscal conservatism. They are an authoritarian, populist right-wing regime, and those that support it by now, after alligators, after, you know, oh, and now the Epstein files. The Epstein files Epstein list doesn't exist now. And they're just gonna believe that and spin that. Now today, I'm assuming that will be the big story, is the Epstein files, because they've been saying over and over again, we got it. You know, this is all these conspiracy things pushed out are part of the reason for maintaining the popularity, maintaining the momentum, gathering more supporters who are conspiratorial minded, who don't want to do real homework. They do their Google research on the internet. And so, yeah, the Epstein files, or the Epstein list, is doesn't exist apparently, and he killed himself. Now that's not a story that I've followed that closely, but with these floods and asking this question, let's just go back to that. Could the lives have been spared? What are these guys going to say about that? They're going to make every excuse in the book. And my guess is one of the things they're going to say is, look at how these liberals, or anyone who opposes, you know, the MAGA rhetoric is a liberal. Look at how these liberals are politicizing this tragedy in Texas. Because, you know, they didn't do that in the fires here in California. No, they didn't do that, right? And so a legitimate question, because there seems to be, where there's fire, there's smoke in this flood situation, that these cuts did in fact impede early warning systems, weather balloons that are traditionally go up to measure the atmospheric situation. They had to cut back on all those. So, and the data systems are using like patchwork, you know, fixes, things that are just not in place. And this chaos, I do believe, may have contributed. Lord help us, these innocent lives who were lost. And while we're on that subject, we do not want to politicize these lives, in the sense that if this is just I want us to do all right, I just asked a question to the administration and to the American people, but we're individuals too. We need to check our own attitudes and our own hearts. How much have you thought of those lives this morning? I'm asking myself this question. And let's not forget that these are lives. These are not to win an argument because we don't like the big, beautiful bill, which I do not. But let's remember each of these lives as we learn more about them today. I want to thank you guys for, we had a lot of new subscribers come into the proximity portal last week through the Loomer video. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. And we want to ask you to help us build our momentum. Our Substack is now fully developed, and we're moving forward. Another thing in the news today, as I roll up to work, because this is just me doing my rant on my commute, is that one thing in the big beautiful bill I'll be looking into later today is that green card holders are being targeted. And that one's a little near and dear to my heart. My wife was a green card holder for several years. We have family members who've been hard-working, tax-paying residents of this country for many, many years. And one of the things, I haven't looked at all of them, is that they now want to charge tax upon tax for green card holders. What do I mean by that? They want to, so many people who come here and work, for example, from the Philippines, and they work and they send money back home to help and support their family, which is their right to do. They're already taxed on that money. And now with the big beautiful bill, they want to tax that even further. Put penalties on sending money. Why? Because the money's going out of America. Well, guess what? Every single person who's a green card holder is paying taxes already. They file taxes just like a U.S. citizen. And so, again, it's more about the messaging than it is about saving money or discouraging people from being a resident on a green card. You know, some people have very good reason to keep their citizenship in their home country and work in another country. You know, Americans do it all the time, but there are good reasons. Some people may own a property back home in another country and are there to are helping to protect their families, help to support their families. And guess what? A lot of times these are countries that are already somewhat dependent on United States aid. So why not allow individuals to support their families without penalizing them anymore? And we know that the real reason is not economic. We know that this is about the messaging, the anti-immigrant rhetoric, no matter how much they want to say that it's not. So I want to keep that in mind this morning. And again, thank you guys for who've joined us recently. This was a short one today, short commute because I'm running late on a Monday. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Please like and subscribe. Leave some comments down below. I do look at all of them, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.